Welcome back to the Avenue, and I am so glad and happy that you joined me today. This is going to be a good one because in 2026, 88% of Americans reported some type of financial stress. We were being stressed out, and it's not the people that didn't make a lot of money or doesn't have their finances under control. It was just a stressful year at the beginning of the year, and 88% of Americans reported this. Also, 77% reported that they had some type of financial crisis in 2025. So there were polls out here to prove this. So today, what we're going to talk about is financial stress and how we can overcome, do some things to help ourselves so we can have peace again. Stay tuned.
She's a go-getter, alright. What a beautiful sight. Anything she sets her mind to, she stays on it day and night. She writes the checks, she signs the deeds. She plants the fruitful seeds and still finds the time to meet all her family needs.
Now let's start out with some more information from the poll that was taken. The first thing we want to talk about is when people were surveyed what they're coming into 2026 with. The number one thing, we're going to talk about 5 of them, but the number one thing they said that they wanted to do was to pay down debt. The second thing that they said that they wanted to do was to set and follow a budget. The third thing that they said that they wanted to do is checking the credit card reports and improving the credit score. Next was paying off credit card debt. And the last was increasing their contributions to their retirement account. These are the top 5 things that people said that they wanted to do coming into 2026. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is what the people in this poll said that they, for 2025, what were the biggest expenses or unexpected costs. The first one was unexpected transportation costs, such as car repairs, major car repairs, vehicle replacements, increase in commuting costs. The next thing that they said was unexpected home repairs, roof, plumbing, furnace, water heater, all of those. The next was falling behind on bill payments or obligation to debts, missed payments, increased fees, or interest. The next one that they had was medical expenses due to injury or illness. And the last one they talked about was job loss or significant reduction in their income. These are the things that were helping to stress people out and the things that were unexpected that came up that made the finances just a little tight in 2025. So to cover these unexpected expenses, there are 4 ways that people use most to cover those. And number one, as you probably already know, is the credit card. That dreaded credit card was one way that they used to cover these expenses. The next thing that they used was an emergency fund, which is a good thing because that's the way the emergency fund is supposed to be used. The next thing that they use is cash that was not in the emergency fund. So that's good if they did hold cash somewhere and it wasn't in the emergency fund. And the final thing that they use to cover some of these unexpected expenses is to borrow from friends and family members. Not a good thing to do. You know, we've talked about that before, but these are the ways people, when something comes up unexpected, these were the top 4 ways people paid for those. Okay, the next thing and last thing I want to talk to you about as far as this poll is concerned is the 3 top contributors to financial stress. And we all know some of them because inflation has a big part to play with this. The first thing for the contribution is just everyday living expenses. Groceries, gas, utilities, everything that it's costing you to live your daily life. Nothing extraordinary or out of the ordinary, but things are going up. If you've been to the grocery, you know how the bills have gotten higher and higher. My grocery bill has actually almost doubled, and I'm buying the same products that I have, still using the coupons and doing what I can do, catching things on sale. Not buying meat every time I go, but I do like to buy fish and salmon and stuff like that. So I'm not going to cut out of some of the things that I really like to eat because the grocery bill is getting higher. But that's the number one thing with this inflation. Secondly is housing expenses. Mortgage, rent, everything keeps going up. Nothing is coming down. Insurance on your mortgage is getting higher. Taxes are getting higher. So that mortgage payment may be adjusted up. because of these other things that's added into your mortgage payment. And last but not least is credit card bills. The credit cards, you guys, are still high and they're still costing a lot of money when you charge on these credit cards. So those are the three most contributing aspects to this financial stress that we have in 2026. So the reality is, yes, there is a lot of stress out there, and you probably are saying, yes, Adrienne, great information, but where do we go from here? Let me help you with that, because there is a path that we have the stress, but stress does not have to control us. It doesn't have to play a large part in your life if we get this stress under control. And the first thing that I will let you know, that when you are stressed, sometimes you make bad decisions. Sometimes you make incorrect decisions. It's not the real thing to do, but because you have the pressure of stress on you, you want to do something, so you start reacting instead of thinking through some of these things that you need to do. So we're here to help with that. The first thing I will say for this stress situation is to be clear on what's going on. Most of us, or some of us, are stressed out, don't know really what's going on with our finances. And when you don't look at your finances, you cannot address the issue. You should be crystal clear on how much you have coming in, crystal clear on how much you have going out, your bills. Some people I know, they never open their credit card bill when they come in. They just, I guess, go online, see how much they are paying, or if they're paying the max because it's maxed out, they just continue to write that check for the $500, $600 a month because they know that that's what it's going to be at least. And why open it and face how much you've actually charged on that card and how you're maxed out if you did charge some more that month? They don't want to see it. And I'm telling you to open that credit card statement and look at it, because you need to know exactly how much you owe MasterCard, Visa, American Express, whoever you have, these store cards. You need to know all of that, and you should write it down and keep it in front of you, because not addressing the issue or not knowing about the issue won't help you when it comes to the financial stress. You know that you're stressed out, but you don't know exactly why you're stressed out. And I'm asking you to become clear on why you're stressed out. See what you have out there, see what you have coming in, then we can start to work with that. Next up, when you do not assign each dollar you have coming in an assignment, somebody else will. It may be the grocery store signing your dollars an assignment. It may be MasterCard. It may be just someone else outside of the decisions that you should be making about your money. You made the money. Why not make the decisions on where that money is going to go? And this includes a budget. Not a bad word. A budget is just you telling your money where to go. So that's what we need to do. We need to look at how much we have coming in and where we're going to allocate that money. What is going to be best for us? Because sometimes you're so overwhelmed, you can't cover everything. So you need to start on something. So what I'm asking you to do is to sit down, look at how much you have coming in, see what you have to pay going out, and create a budget where you're assigning where your money goes. You're assigning that so much will go here, so much will go there to cover your monthly bills. And that's the way that you start getting this stress and those bills up under control. Now, before we go too far into this, I don't want you stressed out. So peacefully hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information I'm bringing you. We're going to get this stress up under control. You may have a little, but it's not overwhelming, and it's not going to take over your life because of the financial stress. There are other things out there that we're facing and that we're dealing with. We don't want finances to be the major thing, and that's what we're here to address today. Because we know that there are all kinds of reasons that you can be stressed out. What I want you to do is to take a look at the major one. What is the one causing you the most stress? You can be overwhelmed with everything stressing you out, but there's one thing that's causing you the most stress that you want to focus on. It could be housing. It could be groceries. It could be you helping others outside of the household. It could be building up your emergency fund. It could be putting more money into your retirement account, and that's what you're concerned about. But all these things pressuring you, just focus on one. See what one thing that you have that could actually make you sleep better tonight if you got that up under control. Start focusing on that one, and that will help relieve the major stress. And once you get that one under control, then you can move to the next one. we're all different and there are different reasons. We may have some of these things under control, but there's one major thing that's stressing us out. I mean, just really stressing us out. And if we address that, get that under control, the stress level will drop and you will be more at peace than you are right now. Let's talk about it. The second major thing, other than a budget, that's the first thing to help you start getting in order. But the second thing that will help tremendously with your stress level is that emergency fund. You can call it a peace fund. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But you need a certain amount of money set to the side that if something were to happen, that you could use that money to fix that. Because when you don't have an emergency fund or a peace fund, everything is a crisis. A flat tire, crisis. Something breaks down at the house, crisis. If you lose your job, major crisis. So everything is a crisis. Even the little bitty things become a crisis. A medical bill is a crisis when you don't have money set aside and it's not in your budget to pay that. So the best thing that you can do besides having a budget is having an emergency fund. And sometimes you don't have 3 months worth of savings set aside, but start out with something small. Some people start out with just $1,500, save up $1,500. Then they go maybe to 1 month of expenses. Then they go to 3 months of expenses. Some people start out with, okay, what's the thing that can happen to me that would put me in, some type of stress? It could be a trip to the emergency room. How much does that cost? Let me save that up. Something like that. The thing that you think that, oh, this may happen. What if your water heater is about to go and you don't have the money together for that, but that's stressing you out? You need to start focusing on that right there. But put some money aside so that you can have it when things happen. You have that money to use, and that'll help with sleeping better. I always say that it helps with sleeping better at night. We all need to get a good night's rest as much as possible. It may not be every night, but as much as possible. So put an emergency fund together. Start little by little until you get that amount that will really help you sleep better at night, and that will be a major stress reliever. Now, the next thing I want you to do, and this is for the ones that do this, not everybody do this, but for the ones that use, spending habits to medicate your stress, that's something we need to come to a screeching halt. Don't use spending money, going into debt to medicate your financial stress. If you're depressed, let's go buy something. If something bad happened to you today, let's go buy something. If you're emotionally down, let's go buy something. That is not spending money like that is not a solution to your emotional stress like that, right? So what we need to do is find another way to do that, but don't use money buying stuff to medicate that because it just piles on top. You have that emotional stress, it doesn't solve that, then you have a financial stress now. Because you've gone out and bought something, more than likely you didn't pay money, you didn't pay it off, you put it on a credit card. Now you have that payment to deal with. So let's find a different way of addressing the stress. And we need to also control the spending, the credit card spending, and find a way to pay this stuff off. With credit cards, as expensive as they are, we need to find a way to pay the credit cards off. 20, 25, 28, 29% interest, you're just giving money away. Pay the credit card off, stop the spending on things. When you don't feel good or when you're down, you're medicating yourself with credit cards and medicating yourself with buying things. And let me tell you, that will not bring you to any good end because it's just piling more stress on top of what you're dealing with. So I know it's hard to hear, but think about what I'm saying and just think about it and go ahead and do the right thing for yourself. Because if you've been doing this for a while, buying things for the moment it may help, but it gives you a long-term obligation now to pay that off. So just out here to help you. The good part about this whole situation is when you start doing these things little by little, focusing on one at a time, basically you can reclaim your wins. You're starting to win. And so you need to give yourself some credit, building your confidence because look, I paid off that bill. Look, I saved $1,500 for the emergency fund or the peace fund, the freedom fund, whatever you want to call it. Hey, I'm putting more money towards my retirement. That's one thing, one step in the right direction. Celebrate. That's a good thing that you're doing, and it should build you confidence and lessen the stress because now you're feeling better because you're moving in the right direction. That's one thing you don't necessarily have to worry about, or one thing that shouldn't be stressing you out, or dropping the stress level on that one thing just a little bit. It helps. But one win at a time, acknowledging your wins because you're doing it. You're the ones that's doing the work and putting in the work, doing the hard work, and seeing these things reverse, turn around, and your finances get much, much better. So congratulations. What I hope you're picking up in this video is that you do need a money plan in order to combat stress, financial stress. So with that, we've given you some tips as far as what you can do to start that money plan. And the money plan is the things that you're going to do and the things that you're not going to do as well. You know, lending money to people that's just coming asking you that you really don't have, but you feel sorry, you lend them the money, now you go lacking. You may need to cut some of that out. Just buying credit card after credit card and not having a way to pay for it, you may need to cut some of that out. How much you're going out to eat meals and paying more money besides the money you're buying at the grocery store, that's some things you need to look at. So it's the things that you're doing as well as the things that you're not doing. But you need a financial plan to address the issues, the budget issue, the emergency fund issue, the retirement issue, whatever the issues are, things breaking down in the household, whatever the issues are, knowing your numbers, what's coming in, what's going out, how much debt are you in. You need all of these to help you with the financial plan because things don't work unless you sit down, plan them out, face them, look at them, and then get busy. Okay, my final thought on this whole financial stress situation is that it is real. The inflation is real out there. The expenses are real. The debt is real. It is real. However, you are not powerless. You can make decisions that can change each of those for yourself. And only you can do that. If you start moving in the right direction, your finances will start moving in the right direction. So you're not powerless. You can do this. I have confidence in you that you can do it. It's just a matter of sitting down and making up your mind, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this one thing to start moving in the right direction. And then once you accomplish that and conquer that, go to the next thing. I'm going to change this one thing. And you will see in a few months how things shift for you and you will be in a much better position financially. Okay. So believe me when I said that, it's happened to me. It's happened to other people that I know of, but it's a matter of making a decision and doing it for yourself. Remember, you are not powerless. And with that, I will see you in the next video.
Go Adrienne. Humble, go get a bless. Let's go.